Chapter 3 discusses the play. Now, for those of us who don't read plays regularly or often, reading a play is different. It's more challenging. For one thing, the play is written in dialogue. So you have to get used to reading it. Your information comes to you through dialogue. Also, you have to pay attention to things that are provided for you by the playwright. Stage directions, the time and the place of the action. Subtext, that's the underlying meaning of a line of dialogue. Character, action, and interaction. We must pay attention to how characters interact with one another. That is storytelling. We will learn when we later in this chapter that character is revealed in a play through what the character says, through what the character does, and through what other characters say about that character. The Greek philosopher Aristotle composed a treatise called Poetics. And in Poetics, he discusses theater and the organization of dramatic action. Aristotle says that theater is a representation of human beings in action, and action is the most important word in that definition. Action. Dramatic action is organized on 6 levels: plot, character, thought, diction, music, and spectacle. When we talk about plot, there are 2 types: climactic and episodic. The climactic plot operates in a linear fashion. In other words, A happens, causing B to happen, causing C to happen. The climactic plot structure is the most common. You may have seen the diagram of the climactic plot structure. It's a triangle. It starts with um, the point of attack, the point at which the story is taken up. And then we experience something called exposition. Through dialogue, we find out what we need to know about the play, where we are, who we are, what is going on, what is the situation. All of this is revealed through dialogue between characters and action. Through this revelation, this revealing of information, something will happen that will start the plot in motion. This is called the inciting incident. For example, the first play that we will discuss is Oedipus Rex. Oedipus Rex is challenged to find the murderer of King Laius, the previous king. They challenge him to find the murderer of King Laius. He accepts the challenge. His acceptance of that challenge or that responsibility is the inciting incident. Everything that happens from that point forward has to do with Oedipus trying to realize that goal. On his journey to do that, or as we move forward in the plot, we will experience things like uh, crises, uh, obstacles, um, things that will set us off the path of moving toward that goal. As we move up, to the point of highest intensity in this structure, that is the climax. That is when that question, that objective is reached. I have found or discovered who murdered King Laius. That's the climax. After the climax, things have to resolve. Um, what happens now? All of this happens post climax. This is called the resolution or the denouement, French word, meaning resolution, the tying up of loose ends. Questions are answered. People return. Relationships are reestablished. Finally, this leads us to the end or the conclusion of the play. The plot of a play is divided into three sections, and they're very basic: the beginning, middle, and end. And these events that I've just described happen at different points in that structure or that organization. The second type of plot, and the least common, or not certainly not as common as a climactic plot structure, is an episodic plot. In an episodic plot, there is not a linear organization of events or action. It is more circuitous. It goes around and around, and information is provided to us as the play moves back and forth in time. Um, Suppose a play starts in the modern day, but to provide information, background information, the play may go back in time, years prior to where we find ourselves at the beginning. And from there, it may come back to present day and then go further back in time. All of this will lead to an eventual climax, but getting there is not a clear, straight path. So, two types of plots: climactic and episodic. Second method of organizing dramatic action: character. As we said, character is revealed in a play through what the character says, through what the character does, and through what other characters say about that character. Sometimes plays follow one character exclusively. It is that character's story, and the events that that character experiences are shaped into the plot or the plot structure. Thought. When we talk about thought, we are talking about the theme of the play. What message does the playwright want to leave with us? Thought is theme. Diction is language and how it is used in the play. Music. Music, in some cases, can be just that. When we talk about theater in ancient Greece, we will find that music was a major part of these theatrical productions. Music underscored action as a part or as a way of telling the story. In some cases, music can be language, and the way the language is either spoken or expressed, or the way the language is put on the page. We will see when we study Shakespeare's plays or discuss his plays that Shakespeare's characters spoke in verse or in prose, iambic pentameter, or blank verse. Okay? Finally, spectacle. Spectacle, I like to call the bells and whistles, costume, set, anything that adds interest or excitement to the production. I'll be back.